Well, welcome in everyone to Betting Weekly Live. It is Friday, the 14th of March. You're with Steve Wyss and Jack Wright. How is everyone doing? And Jack, the end of a really busy betting week. I would say betting period, full stop. How's things?
Yeah, good, mate. It feels a little bit frantic, doesn't it? We've kind of bottlenecked a little bit as we're heading towards the international break. But it's been exciting stuff. So much going on with obviously the new stuff that we're launching and all the usual bits and pieces that we're doing as well. So yeah, love it. Makes the time fly by. And yeah, we've been doing quite well. Lots going on. But yeah, enjoying it.
Well, welcome in everyone. Brello Charles, good to see you. How are you doing? What's your best bet of the day? Ming Chung, what a day yesterday. Thanks to the winners. Yeah, I mean, we both me and James had a really good day. James hardly had a loser as usual. I think he even nailed 3 or 4 correct scores on the show yesterday. But yeah, there was a lot of winners. It was quite a lot of winners yesterday. Duncan, good to see you. It was a solid day, wasn't it? Everything green. We got happy bettors in the chat here today, Jack. Let's hope they can stay happy. Going in, because we've got a lot to look forward to on today's show. We're going to be going through the big soccer games in Europe today, including yet again Norwich City. I mean, it's like London bus syndrome. This you wait a year to discuss Norwich on their own, and now we get them again. And also, I'm going to pick your brains at the end of the show, Jack. I know you guys discussed it on the Premier League show this week, but the EFL Cup final, Newcastle-Liverpool, I'm going to add a couple of thoughts to it as well, but I have tasked you with finding us a couple of player prop bets for that big final on Sunday, so stay tuned for that one. Yeah, real Brendan King, good to see you today. And Jackie's obviously enjoying your content. Duncan Evans says James Nostradamus Eastham. He certainly has. It's been one of them years for James. He's been absolutely sensational, and he was bang on the mark yesterday. But let's get into the card today. There's some house specials I will tell you about a bit later. It doesn't involve this particular match, though. We go to the Bundesliga first in Germany. St. Pauli against Hoffenheim. Now, someone in the chat recently, I think it was on one of the live shows, I can't remember what day, and I can't remember who said it, that mentioned that St. Pauli need to be backed to be relegated because they are in really, really bad form. And to be fair, you look at the recent results that they've had, winless in 6 games. They've only scored 2 goals in that period. They generally lack goals this season, but they did get the good 1-1 draw last week at Wolfsburg. Hoffenheim have had a disappointing campaign, but they have dragged themselves clear of that drop zone. 6 points clear now of it. I think if this match was played in August, Jack, I mean, Hoffenheim would be possibly minus money, even away from home. They were, Europa League team, but this just kind of shows how the tables have turned a little bit. But I still think Hoffenheim are potentially a big prize here. St. Pauli don't convince me at the minute. The nerves are starting to hit them. Are you convinced by St. Pauli? Can they respond here this evening?
In a word, no. That's the simple way to answer it. I think we talked about St. Pauli. I think it felt like a long while ago, but it's towards the start of the campaign, wasn't it? And we said that the goalkeeper would be overworked and they don't score many goals, and they're one to worry about because if the keeper starts letting goals in or you get injured, they don't have the firepower to get themselves out of trouble. So, and it's kind of coming to pass a little bit that is the case. And as it gets towards the end of the season, there's a bit of fatigue setting in. I think they're in a bit of trouble, to be fair. So, I said they're kind of sliding down the table, aren't they? And I said they're just not scoring goals, which is where the problems lie.
Well, their big problem all season, they haven't converted their chances. They're underachieved their XG. They probably don't create enough big chances either, if we're being honest. And I really do think that Hoffenheim draw no bet. I know they can be unreliable. Someone's already mentioned that in the chat. But I think on the tie no bet market here, at plus 123. So if the match ends a draw, which could happen, then we're not going to lose anything. I would never stake big on Hoffenheim. Not on the money line. But I do think this is...
They've turned it around on the road, haven't they, in recent weeks? 3 wins in the last 4, is it? And I think that the defeat that was there was Leverkusen. So again, you can't be too harsh on them on that, but they're sort of taking care of business against the lesser lights. And so that St. Pauli record at the minute is kind of they're heading in one direction. And I think they're at that stage where the season can't come quick enough get safe, keep safe, and pack up for the summer.
So a small bet for me today is on Hoffenheim plus 123. Tino bet. Villa fan, good to see you. 100% league record for Emery in March. He's got the manager a month. There isn't hardly any more Premier League games after this round, is there? I think maybe one match right at the end of the month. Ranjiv Singh, the NBA picks went 1-1. There's been quite a few picks have been put in the chat recently on the live, so put them in, your best bets. Ginepi, good to see you. Tobias Depler, welcome into the house. St. Pauli is not so bad. Never trust Hoffenheim this season. Possibly wise words from Tobias there, but I've got to go on the value here myself. Ming Chung, Hoffenheim, best bet of the day. I don't think I've ever really heard
a difference of opinion there.
Best bet of the day, but well, yeah, interesting to see there. Paul Laguna, great to see you as well. UNC plus 8.5. He's locking that one in. Paul did have the last time he used the word lock on this show. It was Inter, I do believe, on a handicap, and they covered it. So it was great to see that. You've got a player prop that you like in this game. Who are you going to back?
Yeah, I believe we were on the show a few weeks ago, and I mentioned this guy, and he's off to Bayern Munich, isn't he, in the next season? But he's still putting in the work for Hoffenheim, and that player isn't on that slide, but it's Tom Bischoff, and it just catches my eye every time. I backed him a few times this season. Always seems to be priced up at a very generous odds. And the prop that we're looking at here is for him to have a shot on target. It's something that he's just very, very prolific at. 8 of his last 10 appearances for Hoffenheim, he's had at least one shot on target. And on the road, again, I've mentioned this before, when I look at any players, I tend to like to drill down into the fact that are they players that just do things at home, or are they able to kind of perform whatever the stage? And he is the latter. He's had a shot on target in each of his last 5 road trips across all competitions. So yeah, for me, that is a real good player. I was just checking out the latest price on that, to be fair, because it was plus 200 earlier. Phil, for me a minute while I scramble down here.
Bischoff.
You hungry?
He it was interesting to me that Gift Orban was on that list for St. Pauli. He missed, not St. Pauli, Hoffenheim. He missed a massive chance last week, which would have covered my SGP pick and over, but of course that didn't land. He's not really reliable enough in front of goal, but Bischoff has had a good season.
Really good season. Yeah. Once you mention the words "your" and SGP, then it's going to rest people. There's going to be some travesty somewhere along the way, isn't there?
You knew the
outcome.
Yeah, you knew the outcome. 39 shots and it went under 2.5 goals. Not that I'm bitter.
No, not at all. I've just checked. He's just to change the subject, take away from your misery. He's plus 140 now for a shot on target. I still think that's good value.
60% of the money is on St. Pauli here, but 56% of the tickets are on Hoffenheim. So look, the bettors can't really pick between them. 50-50 call. We've kind of got that in chat a little bit as well. It is a real clash of styles as well. I do think Hoffenheim are an over team. They play attacking, more open, don't always finish their chances. St. Pauli are definitely a huge under team, just the way they operate. So, one way or the other, something may give. I would go under 2.5 goals if I had to choose, but I think Hoffenheim is a bit of value here on the Tino bet. And I'll say Bischoff with a shot on target there. Byron Murrell saying both teams score yes. So, I mean, it's one of the few Bundesliga games you could actually back both teams score yes at a viable price, minus 130. You don't often get that.
I was then looking actually and thinking I had a couple of leans this week on the Premier League show where it was both teams to score no, and I got ribbed by Dan for finding the market. Apparently I had not found it all season, but I was then going to mention it again just to emphasize the point that I've now found it. It was minus 103 for both teams to score no. I think we talked about Hoffenheim's unpredictability or unreliability, and we also talked about St. Pauli's inability to score goals, especially at home. So that does then bring those kind of dynamics into the mix for that.
Tobias said the thing with St. Pauli is most of their wins come against teams from the Baden-Württemberg region.
That's quite niche knowledge. Well,
I
like that a lot.
That is really niche knowledge, and this is where I need my geography lesson in Germany. I don't think I've ever been to that region, Disky says draw looks about right. Giuseppe's staying away from it. Shakespeare, yeah, where is Shakespeare? But then again, baseball,
right
NFL, this is maybe he's just recharging his batteries, maybe for the return of those. But yeah, we'll move on anyway, Jack, to the next game on the list. We've got Serie A here in Italy, 3:45 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. Genoa against Lecce, and Genoa around about even money. I can't be having them at the minute. They've let me down they let me down 2 weeks ago, and they only just rescued a draw last week against Cagliari, I think it was. So they're not in amazing form. They've got quite a few injuries as well. Lecce, for want of a better word, they are awful, really, in general this season. But are we now at a stage with these two teams, Jackie? Lecce plus 330, by the way, under 2.5 goals is minus 235. That is, those odds are very, very skinny for under 2.5. Is motivation now an important part of the season? I mean, Genoa, we look at the table right now, 32 points. That might even be enough to actually survive this season. Probably just maybe one more win. So the word on the beach can be used a little bit, or is it too early?
I think it might be a little bit too early. I think there's been signs on. I know they've let you down, and you're holding a strong grudge against them at this moment in time. But I think they've shown signs where they could have just kind of packed up over the last couple of weeks, and they've managed to sort of come back. So I think there's enough signs there to suggest that they're probably still have a little bit of life in them. And I did fancy them. I was a bit surprised. We always seem to get Genoa to talk about, don't we? It seems like this is about the third show running that they've been playing while we've been on. So either they're, something to do with the scheduling here is aligning. But you kind of you go down the same route, don't you, as far as the bets are concerned, really, to be fair. But I've not really been burnt by them, so I'd be prepared to put them forward this time round. But you expect to be low scoring. They're plus 104, aren't they, to win this? Win to nil is only plus 170. I'd probably, on that basis, if you wanted to stake a little less, but fancy Genoa, then maybe the win to nil is the way in, just to get a bit more of a bigger price about it. If you're happy just to say have a kind of a standard win and on the possibility that this game erupts into life and full of goals, then Genoa plus 104 would be my route on the standard line, certainly.
Lecce haven't scored in 4 of their last 5 Serie A games. Didn't even score against Monza. Last week they lost 3-2 against AC Milan. They are struggling, but they this motivation factor. Or Patrick Vieira, obviously, is the manager at Genoa, and I feel like every team he manages has the same cycle. I've factored in before how he comes in. He actually can make a big difference initially, especially if the side has struggled defensively. Steady the ship and get the players enjoying their soccer again, getting the results. And then it feels like they go into this boring phase. Like, really, it's like, I don't know how to describe it, really. It's not like they lose games, but they just sort of tread water, quite negative, not good to watch. And that's why I would be leaning under as well here. I think under 2 goals would probably not lose, would it? Under 2 Asian goals?
So, like, when I look at it, on this side of it, you look at I'd be surprised as well. Yeah, you look at Lecce as far as their goal scoring is concerned. You look at the both teams to score stats for them. That's the league low as far as both teams scoring is concerned across their matches. So yeah, you would go on anything negative to goals. But I say it's obviously priced accordingly to that, isn't it? So that's where the problem lies. Once you identify that trend, is how you get that on side. So I wouldn't put anyone off going aggressive on that side of things.
I mean, I'm not actually going to advise a bet in this game. I'm not going to take it. But you do, as a player prop, you were looking at here, Jack. Again, this might be the best angle for this game in these sort of markets.
Mate, I really like this. This again a player that I have played before. I've backed this guy before, and it might well have even been kind of come to light because I was on the show here and I was looking for something other than on the main line. So I've gone with Johan Vasquez here. When you look at him, he's a central defender, and you look at his odds and you go, wow, he's priced really quite prohibitively to have a shot. So we're actually going for over 1.5 shots here, which is plus 140. And I've got a little bit of a step ladder out for this one. Not the full ladder, but a little step ladder,
The
a little mini
Jack
one.
step ladder, yeah.
The
Go
Jack,
on, then.
the Jack ladder, yeah. And over 2.5 at plus 360 as well. And there's good reason for that when you look across the stats. And this guy will take a chance and a shot on from anywhere. When you're back in central defenders, sometimes relying on set pieces, you're relying on corners coming into the box and the big central defender getting his head on it. This guy is prepared to take shots from outside the box. In fact, he's had one shot from inside his own half this season so far. So that shows you the range that he has got. So it's not particularly accurate. He scored only a couple of goals. But yeah, he's certainly been prepared to have a go. Just looking across his stats at the moment, he's had 15 attempts from corners, 6 from different other set pieces, and 5 in regular plays. He's even been involved in a counter attack and had a shot. He's had 1 free kick where he's had a shot, and so mainly though 17 headers. So you kind of get where it's from. 23 shots inside the box, 5 shots outside the box. So it's a fair split across the board. And when you look at his recent numbers, they're pretty eye-catching to say the least. With him, he's had a shot in 12 of his last 14 fixtures, and he's had 1 in 9 of his last 11 starts at home. He's had 2 or more in each of his last 5 home games, and he's had 3 or more in 2 of those 5 as well. So all the stats really do add up for that. And when you look at Lecce, they've conceded 73 headed shots against them this season. That's the 5th highest in the league. And they have conceded 8 goals from set pieces if you want to go particularly wild and have Johan Vasquez to score. But for me, over 1.5 shots and over 2.5 shots are a viable way into, as we've talked about it, a fairly tricky fixture.
Yeah, that's an interesting angle there with the player props. Byron Murrell's going to be on Genoa moneyline all day. Lecce's off the rails. He likes Genoa under 3.5 goals, plus 118. That's a pretty good angle as well. Ginepi is on about the surprising Friday fixtures. We know that. And Broilo Charles is obviously a bit skeptical about it. Ming Chung says 0-0 draw here. It wouldn't surprise me. Ginepi Kristovic scored 2 last week against Milan. He is plus 320 to score any time there. Welcome in. Good question. Do you guys play first half over goals, and any tips to approach this market? And do you know what I do, actually? I mean, number one, if there's certain games, if I really like the goal line in general, I will back something like over 1.5 first half goals. I might even ladder it to 2.5 if I think it's going to be a fast start. I'll target teams that generally do come out the traps quickly and less of a slow burner. Also, I think the best time to get in running, if you're watching a game and it is, wild end-to-end sort of thing, there's chances around the 20-minute mark, you can usually get on probably for 0.5 goal around evens, or at least a 0.75 first half goal line. This is for like a match which might have a 2.753 goal line. I mean, for this Genoa game, you'd probably be able to get on a first half goal now. I don't know what price, maybe minus 130 or something like that. There's actually a house special for this game. I think I missed it earlier. Yeah, here we go. Genoa to score first half goal versus Lecce, minus 143. So I'm guessing an overall first half goal. I think I'll check if I can find it at minus 150-ish. Any tips first half goal back in, Jack?
Do you know what? I do like this market as well. Yeah, it's something I play, and there's a couple of approaches that you can take. I'd certainly drill into sides that do feature first half goals. You can go on to a host of different stats sites. I think we're going to start including them in the new newsletter that we're obviously in production of at the moment, where we're going to start talking about those kind of things. But drill down to those sides that are pretty prolific as far as first half goals are concerned, or their matches are as well. A couple of approaches that you can have. You can either bolt 2 or 3 together to make a parlay, because it's not that often that you see a game completely unravel in the first half. So they are quite tricky to sometimes get pre-play. So maybe put 2 or 3 together on that respect. As I say, focus on games. You can see timings. You can see how many times sides concede or score goals in the first half. Try and match the pair together would be my approach as well. Sometimes you can see a side that scores lots of first half goals, but they're up against an opponent that don't. Some teams obviously just like to completely batten down the hatches in the first half and then look to try and get a foothold in the game and then go again. So don't go with just one side stats. Compare the 2 together. And you're right, get on late. I actually get on really late because you can get some good price. You can get round about plus 3, plus 300 if you're looking for a goal. 40 minutes, so only 5 minutes to go. But obviously, we do sometimes get a bit of added on time, a fair chunk these days. So you can approach it really from 35 to 40 minutes to get plus money on that. If you can identify the games, draw up a short list, and then look to assess the in-play stats to then play one of those 3 games later on in the first half. Obviously, avoid any games where there's a red card or anything silly like that.
No, aren't they? That's for sure. There, 88% of the money is on Lecce for this game, which is interesting. 97% of money on the over. Although there may well be more action towards kickoff time here. Move to the French Riviera, Nice against Auxerre. This is a really interesting game, actually. Nice minus 175. To win the match. Auxerre as big as nearly plus 500 now for them. Now, I believe that Nice are worth backing here. And I really thought long and hard about this one, Jack, because Auxerre are an awkward team. They're going to play with quite a low block. They're going to play with quite as Kit Kat joins the party here.
At last, we're going to get some sense. Kit Kat's in town.
Kit Kat is in town. As I say, Nice, I believe here are the better team. I mean, James Eastham, I know, highly rates them. He thinks they're going to finish third this season. They had a setback last week against Lyon, but they dominated for about an hour. Had about, what on earth is this cat doing? They dominated for about an hour, had a lot of shots, didn't take them, and the goalkeeper for Lyon had a great game. And it's just like Nice ran out of steam, and Lyon ended up winning the game, probably undeservedly, really. I don't think that'll happen here. Auxerre aren't as good as Lyon. They haven't got the bench that Lyon have, for that matter. So I think the -1 Asian handicap is worth a go on Nice. They've got a strong home record, and a lot of their wins have been by more than 1 goal this season, Jack. Yeah. And quite a lot of Auxerre's defeats have been by more than 1 goal. That suggests to me, obviously on both fronts, when they get control of the game or lose control of the game, it goes either very well or very badly. Also, Auxerre, I did hear from a source that their plane was delayed today. The plane that they were going to take from the Auxerre region couldn't land because of fog, so they had to travel to Paris, to the Orly airport in the south of Paris, 3-hour trek, and then so that's ruined their day completely. I mean, that would annoy me and you, wouldn't it? These athletes, they have a structured day. They know what they're doing. Yeah. That couldn't settle them. I know it's maybe not a big factor, but it is still a factor. So I think Nice -1 Asian handicap, -106 is going to be my bet for this game. And hopefully the travel woes have affected Auxerre badly.
Indeed so, yeah. Matt, I'm going to have to show my working out here because that is exactly the same bet that I had. I was on the -1 as well. So I think they'll put that Lyon defeat down as a little bit of a blip. Look to get back on track. As you said, they've before all that, they'd won their 3 previous home league games 2-0. So obviously covering the handicap well, but they're really strong, aren't they, at home this season? And therefore you would say that it kind of gives you a free swing at it. Like we call it the free swing, don't we? When you expecting a side to win and you can't really back them on the money line. So you're going to go for that -1, knowing that if they win by a single goal, you get a refund, you get a push, but you've got that chance they're going to win as Nice have done. They even beat Saint Etienne 8-0 at the start of the season, didn't they? So
that was a Friday night as well. That was a Friday night, so maybe we can get the Friday feeling for Nice again. What I will say about Auxerre is they are a dangerous team. Some teams that can't play against the low block struggle against them. Marseille, for example, lost twice against them this season because they can counter-attack. So they're not complete mugs. And it wouldn't be good if Auxerre got the first goal here. I think that would not be good for us. It'd be quite difficult for Nice to overcome that. But I think they're the right side. And I think, like I say, when they do win matches, they win them quite well. Sam's waiting for a pro Bristol City punt when we talk about the Norwich game. And yes,
he's not going to be disappointed.
4-7 for the over first half goal in the Genoa game. Ginepi likes Nice and both teams to score at plus 235. Yeah, Auxerre do carry threat, Ginepi. They're not just going to sit and defend, and they've got the pacey trio in attack. 3-1 maybe could possibly happen in this game. Most of the money is on Nice, as you might expect, 74% of that entire money. We're going to get to that Bristol City game very soon against Norwich, but before that was a battle between 2 teams in the relegation zone in Spain, Las Palmas against Alaves. And I mean, immediately when I saw this, I'm thinking, is it time for the old Steve Wyss theory to come to the fold, sort of thing?
We've been waiting for that.
The goal line is low for the game. It is at, over 2.5 goals is at plus 143. I thought about just playing that one, really, to be honest. The 2.25 goal line at plus 108, I think, is probably what I'm looking at here, Jack. Just because of what's on the line. And also, there's a lot of suspensions at the back. Alaves are missing the starting keeper, I do believe. But both teams have been struggling. That's my concern. Sometimes these games can be dour 0-0s. Do you have any angle here at all? Or you were leaving this one to me, weren't you, in fairness? But
I was going to leave it to you, yeah. But I obviously did cast my eye over it, and my instinct was to go both teams to score, yes. Minus 103, I think it is or was, which I think is a generous price. I do buy into your theory games, as you well know. I've quoted it more than on one occasion, and say we are getting to that part of the season now where sides are going to need to go for it, have a bit of a swing, and especially if there's an early goal in this, then it's going to completely open the game up and bring the sides into the equation. There's been a whole host of goals in the Alaves away games recently as well, haven't there? So I think you can see both sides are capable of scoring, and both sides certainly concede plenty. So for me, that makes sense to go with that both teams to score angle of attack at a nice price.
Yeah, that's maybe actually the better bet. Over 2.25 goals, obviously, you wouldn't lose your whole stake if it did end 1-1. But is it really going to end 3-0 to someone? Probably not, is it? If we're being honest.
No. Look at Las Palmas. They've only failed to score twice at home. Once in that last game, it was against Barcelona. Again, a side that we'll probably let them off that scenario. And earlier in the season against Celta Vigo. But other than that, they scored against Real Madrid, scored against Bilbao. They've scored, say, in all bar 2 home games. And then you look at Alaves on the road, some of their games in recent times. They've had 2-2 draws and a 3-3 draw in their last half a dozen road trips. So, again, they've only failed to score in one of the last 7 on the road, but are yet to keep a clean sheet. So I like those kind of stats where people can't keep clean sheets, but they do tend to be able to find a goal. And at minus 103, I think that's my angle of attack.
So how special here, goal to be scored in each half and Alaves to win the game, plus 360. For those who like that one. I don't actually know. In terms of match result, where's my 3-sided coin? I don't know about that because I've got an outright futures ticket on Las Palmas to be relegated this season, and at the minute they're heading towards it, they need to win this game. This is one of those. We talk about tough places to go. This is one of the nicest places to go, isn't it?
Yeah.
To the island of Gran Canaria. Everyone likes coming here. Nice bit of sunshine.
Talking of your 3-sided coin, Steve, did you hear the Mark Clattenburg description of how the penalty shot? I'd love to hear him describe a 3-sided coin. It's bad enough for just 2 sides, with one end and another, and this, that, and the other, and the ref. There. Oh, that was awful, wasn't it?
Bajetic, over 1.5 shots, says Jan Philip. He's liking that odds of plus 900. Was that?
I'm going on. No, having a look. You carry on. I'll check it out.
2 to 1 for over 0.5 shots. That could be a really big couple of bets there. Stephen Boyle, good to see you as well today. Welcome into the show. We got a good bet for today. We're now here at the big game to discuss for you, Jack. We're gonna talk about EFL Cup final props after this, but Bristol City host Norwich City now. Your best bet of the week last Friday cashed after 5 minutes. Josh Sargent came in there, and but Norwich didn't get the job done. I think you should have won the game really, but to be fair, Oxford did dig in, and then you've blown a 2-0 lead, was it, in midweek, and lost in that game as well. I can't even remember who that was actually.
There was Sheffield Wednesday. That was a really weird game. It looked like they'd swapped kits at half time because Norwich were actually really, really good in the first half. Played some real nice stuff. Borja Sainz looked like he was back to his best. Scored a goal. Both goals were really well worked. They cut through Sheffield Wednesday. Kind of looked a little bit disinterested, really, and they weren't getting any joy at all. They were focusing on the long throw-in into the box and trying to feed off scraps, and it didn't really work. It only looked like being one winner, and then second half it kind of switched around, and you had that feeling that there was a goal coming. If Norwich didn't stem the tide, they didn't. Missed a chance at 2-0, which could have killed the game off. But once that first goal went in, you kind of feared the worst. And it didn't take long for it to unravel. And lo and behold, there you go, 3-2, and not very happy Carrow Road. There was discontent all round.
Moneyline -104 on Bristol City. I've just got to open the door very, very quickly, Jack. So take us through. Cat's going to take my place for like 10 seconds. So talk us through what the best moneyline bet is here.
Go on, look at Kit Kat's balance. That's absolutely superb. Anyway, yeah. So the money line bet here for me is Bristol City. Simple as that. I think they're in really good form. They're really. Anyone who knows the Championship knows that if you can put a run together and you're in that kind of chasing pack as such, that mid-table pack, if you can put a run together, then you have a great chance of making the playoffs. They've only lost one in the last 10 games. That is definitely enough to put a challenge together. A win tonight will lift them from 7th up to 5th in the table and into the playoff spots. And so that's what looks like the sensible play at this moment in time. Norwich's number one goalkeeper is out injured. They brought in Reyes. That was only announced last week. That was kind of after we'd recorded the show last week. There was a hamstring injury for the goalkeeper. So they brought in Reyes, who made his senior debut for Norwich. He'll be out tonight. They've already said that George Long will come in. That will not fill Norwich fans with any confidence whatsoever. Anyone, again, who knows the Championship and seen George Long at Millwall and at Norwich, and he's a League One keeper at best, generally concedes long-range shots quite regularly, not commanding in his area either. So that will be a concern and a worry, especially with a couple of players that Bristol City have that do like to have a little pot from range. So I wouldn't be surprised to see one go in from outside the area tonight at all. So yeah, defensively, rocky, lacking of confidence. Bristol City really on the up as well. So for me, it has to be Bristol City at -104 as the bet there. So their home form is so strong. 7 wins in their last 10 at home, scored 17 goals, only conceded 5.
Do you know what? Bristol City, I watched their game against Sheffield United. I thought they outplayed them off the park. I mean, I think Sheffield United sometimes can be a little bit poorer than their results suggest, but I was surprised how good Bristol City looked in that game. And I agree with you here. Nearly evens on the home team. We talk about player props. What about Josh Sargent? Is he worth betting on again? I mean, I guess in every game he's a threat, isn't he? But I mean, would he tempt you this evening or not?
So yeah, he was rested on Tuesday against Sheffield Wednesday, and he did come on towards the end, but they're just managing his game minutes. I mentioned it on the last show last week that he is exceptional at home. I would be on him blind every single home game. Went through all the stats last week as to why he is so prolific at home and the numbers to back it up. Not so much so on the road. Again, at the prices for a striker that is one of the best in the league, you probably say you can't really be put off it, but I would look elsewhere tonight.
There's a house special in this game. Bristol City to score 2 goals or more and win, +135. That's a nice boost from Bet Rivers. Really tempting one there. Gotta be honest. I could see you being interested in that one.
It is.
We've got Bristol City to win as a bet. Yeah. Any other bets for the game, Jack?
A couple of things to look out for that stood out to me, really, to be honest. So a bit of team news is that Nunez is back. He's key for Norwich. If he starts, that will definitely be a big boost, and you'd probably see a bit of money come for Norwich. It's a chance he's had bad hamstring injuries. There's a chance he'll start on the bench, I'd imagine. But we'll see. I'll be honest. One thing I would say is Johannes Hoff-Torup looked a little bit of a broken man. He's normally quite a genial guy. He's smiley. He's happy in this press conference yesterday. Arms folded, and he was quite dour and quite despondent, I think, with how things have gone. So that's a little bit of a concern. And I say the confidence is certainly low, and the fans aren't happy. So I think they'll be quite pleased to play away. Norwich angle, I quite like Shane Duffy for a shot here. He's -104 for a shot, again, going into the props markets. central defender. He's had 31 shots in 36 championship games this season. That's one every 104 minutes, so a fraction over one every game once you put added on time into that mix. He's had 10 shots in his last 8 games, at least 1 in 9 so of the last 12. And that run started with the reverse fixture where he had 2 shots against Bristol City at home, a 2-0 win for Bristol City. On that day, I was there, and they absolutely deserved that win. That's for certain. He's had at least 1 shot in 4 of his last 5 on the road, and he had 3 against Watford. So he is the main man from set pieces, corners into the box. He's not the most accurate, but he will tend to get his head on it. So I think for him just to have a shot at that price would be a play for me. But the one man that I really am super hot on today is Scott Twine.
This is is this better the day territory for you?
It is. It is my bet of the day.
And what's the angle?
Shots, basically. Twine had a sensational season, 2021-22 for MK Dons. Really went onto people's radar. Championship clubs, even possibly above that level as well. 20 goals, 13 assists. He was on their set pieces. He was the main man. Looked like he was going to take them to promotion to the Championship. They failed in the playoffs. He was then sold to Burnley. Hasn't really worked out for him. Loan spells at Hull, loan spell at Bristol City as well. But this season, he looks to be getting back towards his best. And 5 goals and 3 assists is his best return. But it's his shots that I'm looking at. And especially in recent weeks, they have upped. And especially at home, that really catch the eye. 75 shots from 28 league appearances this season so far. That's 1 every 25 minutes. But the split is quite telling. He's had 53 of those shots at home and just 22 away. So again, like I mentioned with Sargent, when he's playing at home, I'm all over him. Not so much so when away. Look for other opportunities. Not to say he won't score or whatever, but I look for other opportunities. And Twine is the one I'm on this for tonight. So at home, he's averaging a shot every 21 minutes, which is quite incredible. His last 6 starts at home, I'll just read these stats out. He had 3 shots versus Derby. He had 6 shots versus Blackburn. He had 5 shots versus Swansea. Only 1 against Stoke, which is a little bit weird. 7 versus Middlesbrough. And he had 9 shots with 6 on target against
This is Hull. Like a firing range. I mean, what the heck? 9?
Exactly. Yeah, 9 and 6 on target to add to that against Hull, obviously his former club. So he loves, as I mentioned before, and especially with George Long in goal, they will be told, have a go, because this keeper's not the best from range. And I think Twine will be the one that will absolutely look to take advantage of that. So for me, we can get it on here. Over 2.5 shots for Twine is -103. I'll certainly be playing over 3.5 shots at +205 as well. And so those are my best bets from the game. So I expect Bristol City to win. I'd expect them to score. I like that. You're right. I do like that special from Bet Rivers there, 100%. But Twine is where my focus is on tonight.
Wow. You've made a very, very good case there. Twine to fire some shots in. Over 2.5 shots, -103. That's going to be your best bet of the day. And I say that over 3.5 shots at +205. Just going back to the question, yeah, I did say Bristol City to win. Jack also Bristol City to win, and it sounds like Kit Kat's best bet of the day as well is on Bristol City to win. So
someone did notice he had a monkey on Bristol City while you were at the door. Bet. So
yeah, Bristol City have got to be the best today as well. So it almost feels bad to be fading your Canaries, Jack, but money's money, isn't it?
Someone said to me last week about it. And I said, I'm not a fanboy. I've made a lot. Someone said Norwich aren't very good. I said, I know, and I made a lot of money over the years for the fact that I realised that quite early in my Norwich City supporting career. You could look when you know a side, as your side, and you can if you can detach that heart element of it, use your head, you can find some angles and know better than anywhere else where to look and where to exploit.
What about to score for a bit of pizza money here? +900. +900.
Is that first goal, I assume?
That can't be the right price, can it? Sure. No, he's he's just looking now. He's +240 to score anytime. He's +525 to score the first goal, and he's 15-1 to score 2 or more goals.
He's not scored in a while. As I mentioned, he's having his best season since that 20-goal haul from MK Dons. He's got 5, but I think he's due. He hit the bar. quite recently. He hit the frame of the goal recently. So and say it's not for a want of trying, is it? As they say, you don't ever win the lottery unless you buy a ticket. So he's been buying plenty of tickets, and this is the night for him. I would not put anyone off. If you're looking for a goal scorer, Scott Twine's your man for tonight.
Yeah, your eyes nearly popped out of your head when you saw plus 900 there, Jack. You were thinking,
I was going to get Kit Kat to get some more money on for me, but we'll stick where we are at the moment.
The big game at the weekend in England is the EFL Cup final. Now, yourself and Nigel and Dan do discuss it on the Premier League show. Nigel's got an SGP for this, but I thought it's such a big game. I thought we might as well pick your brains. King of player props, Jack Wright. Let's find a couple here for the EFL Cup final. Just as a reminder for people, Liverpool minus 175 in regulation to win the match. They're minus 305 to lift the trophy. Newcastle plus 235. And there we've got a bunch of goal scorers anytime. Both teams score yes at minus 159. Now, for me personally, I mean, 70 years obviously since Newcastle won a major trophy last. I think they've got a chance. I'm not saying they are going to win it, but I believe they can get close here. It's a good time to face Liverpool. And if Newcastle can hold their nerve and be as committed as they were in the semi-final, the two, I mean, they were like animals possessed against Arsenal. If they can bring that to the table here, they've got an opportunity, I think, to end that trophy drought. Put it in the comments who you think is going to lift the EFL trophy. Is there a bit of value on Newcastle here or not? But in terms of the player prop angles, Jack, I did task you on this today. What have you got for us?
Yeah, there's a few I like, and unfortunately, I did mention it to you that there's a real good angle in here. So I will mention it for those people in states that can get involved. But we've got a good referee first and foremost, as far as if you're looking for cards is concerned. We've also got a really combative midfield as well, which is what you kind of need. That's where a lot of the action obviously takes place as well. We've also got a makeshift left back, left fullback, wing back, however he's going to play up against Mo Salah, probably not arguably, the best player on the pitch. So certainly the key player for Liverpool going forward. So that already starts to make me think that that's an area that we could look to exploit. So anything regarding that way, fouls, cards, the key elements would be on Liverpool side. You're looking at McAllister. You're looking at Szoboszlai, whoever will possibly Gravenbach in there as well. Joe Linton for Newcastle, Guimaraes as well. Guimaraes has drawn over 90 fouls in the Premier League this season. That's more than 30.
Total foul magnet, isn't he? Incredible.
Absolutely, yeah. He's all action. He gets involved, doesn't he? And whoever they're playing will tend to foul. So you can look at the likes of McAllister to foul in there, Gravenbach, Szoboszlai. That's going to be in that area of the field. And he's kind of got his minder with him as well in now, and Joe Linton. Those two are a real good pairing. Tonali is all action. That's going to be a real interesting battle. There'll be no holds barred in the centre of the pitch, that's for certain. And so I think that's an area to look at as far as those kind of markets are concerned. And also, as I said, Livramento, if he can get the better of Salah on the day, then that will go a long, long way towards Newcastle lifting the trophy. So yeah, he's one that I would look at. Shots on target wise, I've got a real go-to here in this market. I love this player, and he's certainly come more into his own as the season's gone on. I think he's starting to run a little bit on empty. He looked exhausted when he came off against PSG, but that player is Dominic Szoboszlai. Bursts into the box, in and around the box as well, can strike from distance, can time his runs really well. He seems to have developed a really good understanding with Mo Salah. As we said before, I mentioned it on the Premier League show a couple of weeks ago when I had Salah an assist, and he scored as a result of it as well. And he's very, very good as far as just holding his run, just getting a little bit of space. And Salah seems to be able to pick him out quite regularly at the moment. So yeah, Szoboszlai for a shot on target at plus 105, I think is a really good player prop angle. That's my main one as far as that is concerned. Yeah.
And the cards, look out for the cards. I mean, I don't know what the rules are in terms of suspension. If you get sent off in this, I think you'll miss Premier League games. Am I right? Does the yellow apply as well or not? Is that it? I mean, usually in finals, you get a booking. It doesn't really matter, does it? because
No.
it carry on. So I need to
Yeah.
check the rules on that. But
sending off the bookings, accumulation of bookings won't be. It'll be competition relevant. So, and I think also these two sides really won't. The desire for Newcastle to win a trophy is so high they won't really be holding back on anything. Liverpool, the Premier League is over and done, isn't it? Really, let's be honest with you. So again, if they were to miss a couple of players, other than for their personal goals, i.e., Mo Salah being, golden boot and setting records in that respect, then I don't think again they'll be that too fussed by it. John Brooks is the referee, second best card average in the Premier League, but the guy who's got a higher card average than him is Sam Allison. He's only refereed 2 games. So of the more regular officials, he's had 13 games in charge. He averages a fraction under 5.5 yellow cards per game. And he isn't frightened to get his cards out. I think the last time he refereed Newcastle, he showed like 8 cards. It was similar last time he refereed Liverpool. He's booked McAllister, he's booked Joe Linton before as well, so this season. So those are the players. As I say, I think it all revolves around Guimaraes in the middle of the park there, and as I said, he is a foul magnet, and it can get a little bit tasty.
Yeah, some very good angles there, Jack, I must say. And no referee wants to send someone off in a final, I don't think, but they're quite happy to reach that yellow card, because it doesn't really matter, So I think that's going
to say, actually, he's not sent anyone off yet this season in the Premier League. He's shown all those yellow cards and no red card yet. So
he's done the easy option, hasn't he? Basically, there's refs like who love to do that. They just bottle the red cards, and I kind of get it for finals as well. I think Newcastle. I mean, we've got some interesting comments here. Diski says that Newcastle are going to win the cup. Duncan Evans, there's not been many goals. Nish likes Liverpool -1. On the -1 Asian handicap there, and Paul Laguna suggests they're going to be upset by that UCL exit and they're going to be fired up. Beggars then thinks the opposite, going to knock the wind out of Liverpool. Really, I like this. There's split opinions. Gineppi's on the tie as well. So it's
I put the tie forward, didn't I? In the I think this goes to penalties. I've got just a little gut feeling, and this goes to penalties.
I like Newcastle +1 Asian handicap here, +134 or plus a quarter of a goal. Handicap as well is backable at I can't remember what the price is. It's around about evens anyway. And I did look at the under 3 goal line at -134. Someone did say there's not many overs in this cup final in recent years.
Last time that didn't win, that's last time that lost was 2016-17 when Manchester United beat Southampton 3-2.
Is that Mourinho?
It would have been, wouldn't it?
It might have been Mourinho in charge. I remember
16-17.
that. Hasenhüttl was the Saints boss, wasn't he? They played really nice football then.
There was the Ibrahimovic era for Man United. I think he got the winner that day late on, didn't he? So that was the last one that went over. So quite a long while ago, certainly. I knew there was one other. I'd mentioned Guimaraes. He's -103 just to have a shot. I think that's a decent price as well. He's proper pumped up, loved by the Geordie faithful. And I think he would love to be the hero. He'd love to be the man in that respect as well. Get his statue outside St James's Park. If whoever gets a winning goal in this will be there alongside Sir Bobby.
Well, yeah, you're going to get the freedom of the city here. The whole team might, to be fair, if they win this trophy. Anyway, that's the EFL Cup final covered for you. Do check out the Premier League show. Nigel, Jack, and Dan on there. Nigel with the SGP. It's an interesting one. It's not a skinny price. Let's just say that it's a bit of value there on Nigel's SGP. Notable live streams today. You can watch Bristol City, Norwich, Las Palmas, Alaves, Oviedo against Lecce in the Ligue 2, Palermo against Cremonese in Italy Serie B, and the Nice Auxerre game, along with 6 French second division games on the BetRivers app or website live streaming.
Tough decision to make. Which one of those you're going to watch, Steve? Which one would it be?
What am I going to watch this evening? I've definitely got to watch the Norwich game now and cheer on these shots for Twine. Let's hope it. Ranjiv Singh with his NBA bets of the day there. Thanks very much for putting those in, and best of luck whatever you are taking today and ahead of the weekend. It's been a pleasure to be. Thanks to everyone who's been on Betting Weekly Live this week, Jack. It's been 2 good shows with you. Let's hope we can cash some more winners here. Stay safe, take care, and good luck to everyone. And we'll see you next week on Betting Weekly Live as the glorious international break makes its appearance. I'm sure everyone's excited about that. Take care, y'all.